Hi guys, so today I'm going to be doing a brow tutorial, just what I do every day, because a lot of people ask me how I do it, so I figured I would just make a whole separate video and just focus on this. So it's super quick, very simple, only have a couple of products that I use, so I'll show you guys before I get into that. So personally I use the Dip Brow from Anastasia in the shade Soft Brown. Mine's kind of gross and beat up because I've had it for a while now. You can get this at Ulta, Sephora, wherever they sell Anastasia stuff. I just use a NYX brow brush. It's angled on one side and that has spoolie on the other. Just makes it easy to blend out. You can honestly use any... You can use any brow brush that you want. This one was like $10 and it does the job perfectly fine. So there's absolutely no need for you to go out and buy a freaking expensive one if it's just gonna do the same thing. I think the Anastasia one is like a little bit short. I think it's like I don't know, probably like that short. And it's like $18. So you can save like half the price and just get this one. It's like $9.99 and it works just fine. So yeah, I go in with that. Also have the clear brow gel from them that I absolutely love. Mine's also pretty nasty, sorry. It is like super glue for your brows. This is the only clear brow gel that I've tried and I absolutely love it. So I'm sure there's other ones out there that are amazing. This one personally just works great for me. It just has a nice like voluminous brush to it and it really just keeps your hairs in place all day. It's amazing. And then I go in with the Highbrow stick from Benefit. It's just a brow highlight. This one's the matte version because I personally like a matte highlight under my brow, but obviously if you like a more luminous one, they sell, I think it's called Highbrow Glow. So you can get that one if you want, if you prefer like a little bit of luminosity under there. This one is just like a nice light pink shade that I've used since I was like 14 and it's amazing. So I highly recommend this. And afterwards, I set down the highlight with a white eyeshadow. You can use a white eyeshadow or like a cream, like off-white one if you don't want like a super intense highlight under the arch of your brow. But yeah, so that's basically it. Super simple. I do my brows every day, even if I don't wear any makeup. So we can get right into that right now. Please excuse my brows because they're pretty terrible. They are in no way, shape, or form similar at all. I overplucked them when I was younger and then I would get them waxed all the time and I just feel like they don't grow at all. So I just fill them in every day. I don't really tweeze them that much. I'll tweeze like under here if I have to. If there's like some stragglers that are outside my brow shape, I will just close, but other than that, I really don't get them done. I don't feel like as if I need to because they don't grow. But I do like, I'll trim them from time to time with just like a pair of scissors if the hairs are getting too long and if I notice like after I fill them in, they're kind of like hanging over the shape of my brow. I will just take some tweezers and kind of clean them up. God bless all of you ladies that have thick, voluminous, shapely brows because I'm super jealous. I have these little monsters that just hate me because they don't want to grow. But let's get into our tutorial. So first, I just like to take my spoolie and I will just comb the brows into place, just going along the brow shape and the way that the brow hairs grow. So I'll go up here towards the direction of the hairline, towards the arch, and then when you go down the arch, I just brush them down and back. This is just to ensure that when you go to fill them in, you have the proper shape for your brows and they're all cooperating. So next I'm going to take my dip brow, and what I like to do is I will just take my brush into it a little bit. And then I will go into the cap and kind of like wipe off the excess just because this brow shade is much darker than the color of my eyebrows, but it does match my roots. So I don't want to have a super, super dark, intense brow, but I do want the pigment to be there. So I just wipe off the excess so you don't get like a super like thick Sharpie brow. So what I like to do first is I will kind of like underline the brow, like outline the shape of it. Just using very short strokes. And when I'm doing this, I always, always, always go in the direction that the hairs are growing. You never want to go this way because you're going to get a sharp, very dramatic line that would be hard to blend. If you're drawing your strokes in the way that the hairs grow, it's going to ensure that you're getting a nice natural brow. So even though it may be more defined, it's still going to look as natural as possible because you don't want, obviously, nobody wants Sharpie brows. So I'm just doing small strokes. And I'm doing the short strokes kind of towards the arch. So like, I don't really have an arch on my brow, but like when I fill it in, it's like right here. So I'm just drawing them up very lightly. When you feel like you need to go in with more product, you can definitely do so with repeating the same method that we did before, picking a little bit up on your brush, and then kind of like playing with it in the cap, just so you don't have too much product on your brow brush. All right. So then, with the front of the brow, I like to take my brush, just like this, put it on the bottom of your brow, and kind of just like flick it up. Just flick it up. Or picking a little bit up on your brush, and then kind of like playing with it in the cap, just so you don't have too much product on your brow brush. All right. So then, with the front of the brow, I like to take my brush, just like this, put it on the bottom of your brow, and kind of just like flick it up. Just flick it up very gently, with a very light hand. And then I just like to continue to do those strokes, going up. And then once you get to the very front of the brow, you can do this if you want to. You don't have to. I know a lot of people will have hair here and they'll just do it very lightly. But I personally don't have a lot of hair in the front of my brow. So what I like to do is take the brush and put it vertically and just kind of do little lines upward to mimic the appearance of hairs. And then I just like to go to the top and lightly do those horizontal lines again towards the arch. If you feel like you're making it too dark in any way, just take your spoolie and then just go and brush it out very gently. When you're doing anything in makeup, really, you always want to make sure you have a very light hand, just so the makeup blends nicely. If you're going in with a very rough hand, or if you're like scraping your brows with a spoolie, it's gonna look messy. I found that throughout my years of teaching myself how to do makeup, my blending skills have improved, just for the simple fact that I've learned to hold brushes differently with a very light hand, just because the less pressure you put onto the brush, the more natural the results are going to be. So I'm just going to continue to do that until I get my desired look. So next, we are going to focus on the arch of the brow. there's so many different styles of arches. There's a nice like sharp arch. There's like the soft one. There you can have your brows be curved. Personally, I like a nice like, I guess you could call it rounded. I don't know what like the technical term is, but I like my brows to have a little bit of an arch and curve downwards. I don't like them to be super sharp. I feel like that just looks too fake for me. Like personally, it just looks too fake. It looks too drawn on for my liking. Keep in mind that I do like to keep my makeup a little bit more on the natural side. Even though I'm filling in my brows, I don't always like that like sharp, carved, dramatic brow. So with the arch, you don't want to go too far up above your brow. I feel like that just makes them look awkward and too fake. For my liking, no shade to anybody who likes a thick, bold brow. You go, girl. Do you. But personally, I don't like that on me. I feel like I look crazy. And I wish somebody would have told me that when I was like 14 filling my eyebrows. But, you know, it's all good. I'm just going to go continuing the top line of my brow. I'm just going to do small flicks. And kind of fill in that arch. Again, going in the direction that the hair grows in. And then I'm just going to bring it down towards the tail of my brow. You always, always, always want to make sure when you're filling in your brows, I probably said this like 7 times already, but you always want to make sure that you're filling them in the direction that the hair grows and not against it. Same thing with the tail of the brow. I'm just going to do small strokes in the way that it's growing. And then once your brow is properly filled in, please mind this disgusting pimple I have right here. Like, ugh, gross. Once your brow is completely filled in, you can adjust the outline of it if you want to make it more dramatic. You can like pick up some more of the pomade, and typically the tail is darker. It's like an ombre kind of. Oh, it is ombre. I like my brows to be an ombre, so it's super light here and then it gets dark at the tail. So you can pick up a little bit more product if you prefer to do so towards the tail of the brow. And then same thing, just do small little flicks outward. Okay, so as you can see, this brow looks completely different from that brow, but that is the power of makeup. So don't get discouraged if you don't have a nice natural shape to your brow, because as you can see here, I do not at all. So you can definitely achieve the brow that you want with a little bit of patience and a very light hand. If you want to over fill in your brows to create a shape if you don't necessarily have one like I do, I would recommend to use the pomade like I do, just because it gives a more like full coverage in the areas you don't have hair. I find that for girls who have a nice defined brow already with lots of hair, pencils work the best for them just because they want to fill in the areas where they don't have a lot of hair. But for me, like, I don't have, like, especially on this brow, I don't have a lot of hair in the place where I want my arch to be, so this product works amazing for me. But like I said, if you prefer pencil, that's totally fine. I would love to use a pencil because I feel like it would save me time throughout the morning getting ready, but it's just how my brows are. So this product works amazing for me. Definitely lasts you a very long time. I'm going to go in and do my other brow, and just keep in mind that your eyebrows are supposed to be sisters, not twins, so if they don't exactly look symmetrical, or if one's a little bit higher, if one's a little bit lower here, like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because my brows are nowhere near symmetrical at all, and it's totally fine. Alright, so same thing. Gonna outline them. I'm going to take the brow gel that I talked about before, and I'm gonna set down the pomade that we just filled our brows in. So I just like to brush very, very lightly. Brush the hairs in the direction they're growing, just in case like you have some stragglers or whatever. And then I brush the hairs on the brow tail, I brush them up and then back down. Alright, and you want to do this very gently because I have found that you can take off some of the brow product that you just applied, especially in the areas where you don't have hair for the product to cling onto. If you're applying this with too much pressure, it's just going to wipe off what you had before. If you like a more like feathery brow, obviously you can just take the spoolie and just brush them out to your desire in whatever direction you like. But I do like a nice sleek shaped brow, so I just brush them obviously in the direction that I want them to go. I am going to take my highlighter, my highbrow from Benefit, and so with this I'm going to take it and apply it just under the arch. So again, very lightly. Oh look, and we covered up my pimple. Amazing. So for a lot of people, this step is different. You can use this, you can use concealer, you can use a liquid highlight. Like there's so many different ways to highlight under your brows. A lot of people just will just take a shadow and do it. Totally up to you. Whatever preference you have, it's totally cool because it's all going to do the same thing. So I personally like this, and then I like to set it down with a light eyeshadow just because I feel like it lasts all day for me, and it makes it pop, especially if I put shadow on that day. Well, today I obviously didn't, but if I wear any eyeshadow, it definitely makes my arch pop out against the shadow, whether it be dramatic or natural. It definitely gives a nice little highlight and draws attention to my eyebrows. So I'm just taking a concealer brush. I think I got this in my Ipsy bag, so I'm not entirely sure what brand it is, but pretty decent sized concealer brush, and I'm just going to take that and just blend out the brow highlight we just applied. And while you're doing this, it cleans up the brow. If you have like any excess product underneath that you want to get rid of, this will do the trick. I'm just gently blending that in. Nice. Perfect. So when you have finished doing that, obviously like I said, you can skip this step if it's not part of your routine or if you're like, oh my gosh, there's too many steps. I just take a white shadow. This is the Too Faced Glitter Bomb palette that I have, and it has this dark white shadow in it that I personally love. It is amazing to set down my brow highlight with. So on the same brush, I'm just going to take a little bit of that on the tip of the brush. Always tap off the excess so you don't have any fallout. And then I'm just going to press it into the highlight that we just applied. Hopefully cover up that freaking pimple. With this, I don't always like to go all the way under the brow because I feel like it is not that flattering. Like I said, on me it's not that flattering, so it can work amazing for somebody else, but personally for me, I don't like to go all the way under just because I feel like it draws, not that it draws too much attention to your brows, but it can kind of just like make them look fake, and it doesn't work well for me. So I just highlight kind of like, I guess you could say like halfway, just where the arch is starting, and then I just go down the tail also. And you're just doing this very lightly because you don't want to have like a freaking white line under your brows. You just want to give the illusion of a nice highlighted, lifted brow. So I'm going to do the same thing with this brow. So that's the final product of my brows. Obviously they're not perfect. They're not exactly the same, but what can you do? You can't friggin' exactly make the same brow on each eye, but as long as they look pretty similar, the arches are relatively in the same spot, they're the same length, then you got yourself a great pair of brows. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my first video. I kind of just winged it, but let me know in the comments what videos you guys would like to see in the future. If you want me to do any step-by-step tutorials like this, yeah, whatever you guys prefer, because I'm all about what you guys want to see. I have my Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter linked in my banner. Is it called a banner? I don't know. If you go onto my page and you see it, I think it's in the bottom right hand corner. So yeah, my Snapchat, everything there if you guys want to give me a follow. And definitely hit the subscribe button. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.